Hey guys, welcome back to Ramo Repair, and this is going to be our next project. This is a Sym Symba. Never heard of it before in my life, but that's what it is. It's a Sym Symba, and it is kind of a clone of a Honda Cub scooter. Anyway, that's what it kind of looks like to me. I'll give you the walk around here. And that's pretty much it. Still got the leg shields, the rear fenders broke off, a bunch of other stuff. And our key is basically a screwdriver now. So that's what we got going on. We're going to see if we can get this sweetheart to run. So far, I've only put a battery in it and cranked it over, and it is not running. So we're going to dig into it. All right, here we go. The other nice thing about this is it has no front foot pegs. I don't know why. Well, this thing just refuses to start. So we're going to dig into the carburetor here. First thing we're going to do is pull the air box off. Kind of work our way down. Got a crankcase breather here. Man, all this stuff is just Chinesium cracking hoses. And then we'll pull the carburetor off and see exactly what we got in there. But I think first, what we need to do is get the air box out of the way and spray a little bit of carburetor cleaner or something in there and see if we can get this thing to pop off. Then we'll know we got a good engine and continue on the way. Here we go. This will be the crankcase breather hose. Try to get that to pop loose without stressing those hoses too badly. There we go. All right, that'll be the crankcase bend hose out of the way. Boot off the carburetor. Then this should come down and off. There we go. Got the keys on. Horn works. Who'd have thought it? Yep, the engine's going to be all right. We just need to get the carb fixed. You can kind of already see the ring on the needle right there. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but there is one nonetheless. Must be the cobalt ratchet. Yep. Get your carb drain off there. Kind of clears this side of the carburetor. There we go. I'm going to guess this has a vacuum shutoff for the fuel. That also may be a problem. We'll have to wait and see. No fuel come out. There is a little bit of junk fuel still in this thing. So it makes me think that it's probably not very good. I don't know if there's a connector for this choke nearby or not. Let me take a look. All right, let's see what kind of loveliness we find in here. First, we'll take the automatic choke out. This automatic choke has basically a kind of wax in it and a heating element. And when the engine starts, typically they get a feed off of the stator into the wires, and then it has a heating element in here, and as it heats up the wax pushes down a little plunger, and the plunger blocks off the choke passage. So the warmer it gets, the less and less choke it needs, and finally to the point where the choke is turned completely off. Super simple, super reliable. There we go. Oh, yeah. She is full of sweetness. Check that out. That is prime. It's the hard stuff too. It's not the soft, gushy stuff. It's the super hard stuff. Awesome. All right, let's see if we can get this thing to come apart. First of all, we'll pull our slide out. Pull our float out. And our float needle, it's not stuck at all. There's a little bit of goo in here. Runny goo, that is. And we'll pull out the pilot jet. I'm certain it's plugged up. And we'll pull out the very gooey main jet. The emulsion tube. I think that's what it is. Main jet goes in the end of this, and there's little holes down the side of this, and air comes in around to the side, and then the air and fuel mix together, and it helps emulsify the fuel to get it delivered to the engine. The pilot jet, or slow speed jet, it runs on this until you get up to, probably a little under a quarter throttle, and then this comes into play. As the slide lifts, it allows fuel to flow through here, through the main jet, get emulsified, and out into the carburetor. Now this main jet right here should only control the speed, control the mixture at high throttle. In the mid-range, the needle on the slide is metering the fuel. And it does that through another orifice that's in here. See if this comes out easily. Not bad. Clean up our broken off pick and slide that sweetheart on out. This is the needle jet, and on the bottom of the slide there's a jet needle, and it slides down through here, and it meters the fuel in the mid-range. The thing to remember when you're trying to jet any of this stuff or make it work like it should is the fact that none of this ever shuts off. The pilot jet is always flowing fuel. Until you start flowing, it continues to flow fuel even at full throttle or whenever this is coming into play. When the main jet is metering the fuel, so is the pilot jet. It never really goes away. It's always metering the fuel. In the meantime, let's take a look at our air filter. We got 2 screws here, and we got a clip on the backside that holds this thing together. This is our air box, and we want to see what kind of air filter we have and if it's completely trash or not. Take our clip off. As suspected, this is a foam type filter. But you know what? Yeah, it's starting to peel apart, but it's in pretty stinking good shape. So I think that not being super dirty, we're going to leave it in at least till we get this thing started up and test ran and see how it works. It's probably not super restrictive yet because that's a huge surface area for this tiny carburetor. So we're going to put the screws back in it and run it. All right, let's reassemble this thing. Put the pilot jet in. This side's filled in and this part's kind of a bit more open. That goes up. Like so. And then the emulsion tube goes in. Like that. We'll snug it up. I'm going to turn this out about 3/4 of a turn. Now before it was almost completely seated. So hopefully that makes it better. Feels all right. This thing has a vacuum petcock right here. This is the bottom of the fuel tank. This is a petcock. This is a vacuum line. There's a diaphragm in here that's supposed to pull down to turn the gas on when you start cranking the engine. That's not happening. So we're going to need to pull this out. We got to take the lines off, and then we can pull the tank out the top. We'll see whenever we crank if any fuel actually comes out the hose. Now look at that, fuel. I'm afraid our battery's headed south, or the starter motor. Ooh. Oh, you know what? Could be because we don't have a ground. It is because we don't have a ground. We have a ground wire right here that I have not hooked back up. So I'm cranking this poor thing to death. Waiting for something good to happen. Amazing what a ground will do, isn't it? Alrighty, I pulled the car back off and I raised the float level so it's about even with the surface, probably 2 or 3 millimeters. And now I've got decent throttle response and I think it's going to run okay. So that is like a drastic improvement over what we had. And that's all float level right there. So we're going to button this thing back up a little bit, get the airbox put all the way back on, and then we'll put the battery back in it and take it for a ride.